Hi there. I'm going to do another uh, in the occasional series of talking about both the book and the filmed version, in this case, a TV version. And I actually watched the TV series of Slow Horses before I read the book. And the reason I watched the TV series was it had so many rave reviews on sites that I go to find out what's worth watching. And there wasn't one bad comment about this series, in particularly praising Gary Oldman's portrayal. So I thought I'll give it a go, and I was absolutely knocked out by it. So I'll talk about the actual TV series because then I went and got the book. Now, I had originally looked at Mick Herron's Slough House series. And sort of looking at the synopsis, I thought maybe he's trying to be another Le Carre, and there's quite a few like that out there in the genre. However, I was delighted when I started reading it to find that he certainly deserves his own niche in the genre, along with Le Carre and Len Dayton and so on. So one of the difficulties that spy writers face is um, creating their version of the world of espionage. Well, the reality, that there's books about the real world of espionage. I've recently reviewed Defense of the Realm, which is about MI5. So you can read the real cases, and they're very, very interesting. Some of them amazing, especially the wartime stuff. But to create your own version of that, and also, and I will be reviewing a couple of books written by a chap who was a surveillance operator for MI5, and he has to invent um, fictional aspects to the real MI5. So Le Carre famously created the circus, and he had his own names for different elements, the lamplighters, the scalp hunters, and so on. So Mick Herron's had to do that with his notional MI5. It is MI5, the security service, but almost everything else fits into his own world. And then once you accept that, everything has to conform that particular version of reality. So and he pulls it off very, very well. So MI5 in his version is headquartered in Regent Park, and it has departments with names like the Dogs and the Achievers and so on. And it very much operates outside the law in very dramatic ways, which are not really realistic. But in spy fiction, it works very, very well. And then the characters he's created, you've got Jackson Lamb, who is the head of Slough House, which is an outstation of MI5 in the East End of London in a dilapidated building, um, where really it's a depository for burnt out officers and people who have dropped a major clanger uh, in some way or embarrassed the office, but still not done enough really to warrant being totally dismissed. And they're given the most mundane research tasks, searching through people's garbage, running through lists of all sorts of random data and so on. And it's painted in a totally convincing way that these people, and none of them really like each other. Um, they're all, in a way, they're all misfits and they don't fit together. There's a couple of people who are kind of forming bonds, but presided over by Jackson Lamb, who, unlike, he's the antithesis of George Smiley, really. George Smiley was this really well connected, upper class, very well educated chap um, who wouldn't know what a takeaway was, whereas Jackson Lamb um, lives on takeaway food, curries, and so on. He's an absolute mess, his clothes and so on, and his personal habits. But he's had decades of operational spying experience, which he can call upon, and he's got a very sharp brain. And you never really find explicitly why he has ended up in Slough House. And it's a question that several of the characters ask themselves why they are there. But one of the other main characters, River Cartwright, who's um, probably the newest member, uh, has been sent there as a result of. At first, you think he was responsible for uh, a terrorist surveillance operation which went wrong and killed thousands or hundreds of people, a major terrorist outrage. However, as he points out, it was only an exercise. Uh, yeah, but you know that what would have happened, so you're in Slough House kind of thing. And then you find out really he was double crossed. He was made to be a fall guy for reasons which form part of the whole story in the plot. So um, the boss of the actual official MI5, excuse me, she's not actually the boss. She's the second desk, we call it. She's a female. Her boss, who's also a female, is away at a conference in the United States while the action takes place. So it's Diana Taverner, and she's ruthlessly ambitious. Her nickname is Lady Di, which I think is a great touch. And she uh, has total dislike of Slough House and Jackson Lamb in particular, and is very scheming. The main plot, which is the terrorist plot, um, at first you think, oh yeah, you know, we've seen this one before. Then you find out what you've been led to believe is totally um, just a plot by other people. It's a twist, and it's very well done. Uh, the writing is immaculate. It's brilliant. He's got a tremendous turn of phrase. Uh, his characters are all very convincing. The things they say and how they behave are convincing. Um, the star in the book is Jackson Lamb, but all the others do play their part, and you get to know these characters and you get to understand them. And some of them are not very likable at all, um, on all sides, obviously. And the book really puts Mick Herron in exalted company. I think he is deservedly up there with uh, with Dayton, with Adam Hall, and with John le Carre, in my opinion. Um, it's that good. So the TV series, which, as I say, I watched first, and um, I don't think that's the best way to do it. I always prefer to have read the book, uh, but in this case, it, it I don't think it made any difference, um, except that when I read the book, the TV actors were in my mind for the characters, and it worked very, very well. It was spot on. Gary Oldman, obviously one of our most brilliant actors, um, portrays Jackson Lamb right down to spot on as described in the book, even down to his flatulence. And um, Jack Lowden or Loudon is River Cartwright. Um, I wasn't really familiar with this actor, but he nails it completely. Terrific. And then the rest of the cast um, are equally good at bringing their characters to life, and altogether the people who work in Slough House, you get to know them, and uh, it's a very very good portrayal. Uh, and the people who work in Regent's Park, who are the elite in a way, and it's the contrast is obviously very well defined, and Kristen Scott Thomas plays Lady Di, Dinah Taverner, with a chilling effect. It's excellent. So it's as I say, it's probably the most faithful adaptation of a book that I've ever seen. When I was reading the book, I kept referring back in my mind and thinking, yeah, that was in the series. That was, and there's very very little I can put my finger on that I'd say they either left out or they added something else. Slight change at the end, but both the same ending, but both work. Um, they um, they really um, give you the whole look of Slough House. It's a really rundown, horrible building, and the contrast with Regent's Park, which is a very modern, um, full of electronics and devices with staff and so on, and heavily guarded, etc. And Jackson Lamb, in both the book and the TV series, um, shows his devious mind uh, and his ability to wrong foot people in a brilliant way. The only thing that really is different is that the TV series opens with the uh, exercise that caused River Cartwright to be sent to Slough House in detail. It opens with that, and I think in the book it's an exercise at a train station, a major um, railway station in London. In the TV series, it's Stansted Airport, and obviously you think it's a real terrorist incident, terrorists being tracked, and it's very, very well done, highly dramatic and so on, and you're led to believe that it is an actual terrorist incident, just like in the book, until you find out that it was an exercise. Um, Brilliant. Uh, they have filmed the second book already, so they must have been filming the two together because they showed a trailer, and it's going to be released later this year. I can't wait. Now it's always a delight to find a series of books. Somebody puts you onto them, and you've got quite a few books in the series to enjoy. Um, and with Mick Herron's Slough House series, there's 11 books just in that series alone, and a few others. So I've only read the first one. I've got the second one, Dead Lions, ready to go, and I'll be reading that. And it's highly enjoyable. I'm really, really getting into it, and it's absolute um, delight. Um, and as I say, Mick Herron has made a major impact, uh, and to see his series brought so well to the screen also is something that I found absolutely engrossing. So there you have it. Um, I recommend both. It's up to you if you're more of a reader or a TV fanatic. But in my opinion, go for the two.